Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. It is Monday, and although we're not doing any kind of craft or we're not making anything today, I wanted to come on and show you some of my treasures that I have found recently at some estate sales. And so I want to know, have any of you gone to any estate sales before? I think it's kind of fun, and so I just wanted to show you some of the things that I find, kind of useful. And if you are not seeing the little red live button up here, then you're watching on replay. So just let me know that you were here. Just put in hashtag replay and let me know that you were here. I like to, see who all pops on even after the fact. Sometimes I think we have more people that watch after the fact than while we're live, and that's okay. That is certainly okay. Hi, Diane. How are you this morning? So, let me know when you pop on. Just say hello. And if you want to tell me where you're watching from, that's fun. And, I'm telling you, we have had so much rain. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and oh my goodness, we have just been having so much rain, you guys. How about you? How about where you are? Have you been having a bunch of rain lately? I don't know. It's crazy. Big storms. Some of them have had an awful lot of wind with them. And and just not far north of us, I know, I think maybe it was last week or so, they had a tornado, and oh my goodness, or super high winds. If it wasn't a tornado, it was super high. Oh no, they did, because my daughter said she had talked to somebody who they had stopped just north of that, and they ended up being only like about a couple of miles from where the tornado crossed over the highway. So, oh my goodness, you just always pray that everybody is safe during times like this. And we did have a lot of people that had trees come down, parts of trees or trees. They said they saw somebody a couple of streets over that one of their trees had fallen on their car. So that's never fun. Oh my goodness. You just always, pray for the best during those things, right? Hi, Maritza. Glad you're here today. Oh, it says a beautiful day in New Jersey. Great. It's looking better today. I have not seen what it's supposed to be doing outside. But we'll, usually the way that I see what the weather is going to be is I look out the window. So that's my weather reporting feature. So hi, Christine, how are you? And Linda's here. Everybody, welcome, welcome. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We are not going to do a craft this morning, but I did want to show you some things, that I had picked up at some recent estate sales. Now, have you gone to any estate sales before? If you haven't, if you ever get a chance, be sure and do that. Now, typically, any estate sales that I have noticed or been around or anything, usually it's like a full price on the first day, and usually they run the course of, usually about 3 days. Sometimes it depends. I know where we live in our city, somebody was telling me, we were at an estate sale, and they told us that in our city, they are only allowed to do it for 2 days. And I think, that has to do with the parking around a home and just being respectful of the neighbors. And so our city has said, no, you can only do it for 2 days. So there aren't quite the discounts sometimes when an estate sale only has a 2-day sale. But typically, if it runs over the course of several days, it'll be full price the first day, and then sometimes like 25% off the second day, and then a lot of times like 50% and more off as it progresses. And we used to do some estate sales a number of years ago. My family, some of my in-laws were doing. My husband had been down here, and he goes, "Oh, we should do that. We should do that." So I set us up an estate sale business. Why he thought we should do that, I don't know. We both had full-time jobs. So anyway, we had a couple of kids that helped us, and so, it was what it was. And I just said, look, I never wanted to know this much about how much anything was worth. Oh my goodness, who wants to just do that all the time? I just got tired of it. And so we did it maybe for about a year, I guess. Elsie Sanders, hey, welcome. Hey, Pat, welcome. And, so you can get some really good buys, and especially, as time goes on. And then sometimes by the last day, it was like fill a bag for towards the end of the sale. Like on the last day, it would say, everything you can get in a bag's $5. And so it helped us clear out, some of the things. So, if you're doing mixed media, junk journaling, anything like that, estate sales can be a really fun time. Now, I'm going to put us down here. I'm going to change our view. Okay. And you guys, look at this. And, sometimes it's really funny because a lot of things like this, nobody wants them. And so these kinds of things will be over. But, the tricky thing about that is sometimes you don't want to wait until the end because it might be gone. I have seen some things, and we will, we'll typically make a trip somewhere if the pictures are good and it looks like there's anything that I might want at the estate sale. And so we'll make a trip over, and maybe we saw something in a picture that by the time we get there, it's gone. One time there was a bunch of golden books at one. And so we got there and they were gone. They were already gone. So, there are things that people are looking for. Although a lot of the things that we use, like for junk journaling and mixed media and things, a lot of times they'll be gone. Sometimes maybe in the course of setting things out, some people who hold the estate sales are not as likely to keep some of the things that you might want to use. Like old papers and journals and things like that. Some of them don't sell them. They just get rid of them. And some people sell almost everything there. Even down to remaining things left in bottles of, personal care items in the bathroom. You just never know. But, sometimes you can really find some pretty fun things. I was at one the other day, or I guess maybe the last time I picked up something, and I found a bunch of buttons and something else, and they didn't have anything marked on them for a price, and so I asked the lady how much she would take for them, and so she laughed, and I think everything I had, she let me have for $1, and she said she loved people like me because I was taking stuff that nobody else wanted, and they would end up having to just get rid of at the end. I'm like thinking, woohoo, look at this. So sometimes, some of these linens, these are some nice things that, you can look for. And I know so many of our friends are using these kinds of things in their junk journals for covers and and whatnot. But oh my gosh, one of the things, you guys, things like doilies. A lot of times we'll do that and put it on, use part of it on a cover or something. And a lot of times this is the stuff that's left over. Now this one has got some, I don't know what, what that looks like? I know exactly what that is. I hadn't taken it out of here. That's candle wax. This one's got candle wax on it. I could heat that up and get it off. Well, that's too bad. But look at that. You can find all kinds of stuff that's great designs. Here's like this. This is probably a piece of linen. And so you've got this decorative edge on it. A lot of times maybe you only want to use the decorative edge of something. So there's all kinds of ways to use all the goodies. Some of them are big enough you could probably make a whole cover out of. You guys, I have so many of these kinds of things that I have found. There's no way I could go through all of them with you. But a lot of these things I'm going to put in my Shopify shop. Just as is. Oh, look at that. That's a nice little size. It's kind of big. My goodness, you could even use the whole thing and make a bigger than normal piece on a cover, right? Oh my goodness. Pat says she has gone to estate sales, but she always feels like a scavenger. I tell you what, my mom could go in and shop somewhere at a garage sale or anything else, and you'd be like, where'd you find that? She could find the most interesting things, and they would be good finds. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of patience. But look at these patterns. And I mean, you could use anything from the outsides of the envelopes for anything to using the inside. Oh, they closed these up. They taped them shut. Did they tape all of them? But the, no, this one they didn't. Look at these. You can clearly tell what decade do you think these came from? I want to know, what decade do you think these went from? So funny. Hey, Carol. I got two Carols here. Good morning. You know, I've got two places to look for comments. It's so strange because the same comments do not show in both places. It is just so interesting and weird, I think. Let me see. I got a problem here. Okay, I got it. But what do you think? What do you think the decade was that these patterns were from? I want to know what you think. Come on. I know you know. I know you know. I think there's one thing about them that gives a great giveaway. Where was the one that was open? But the paper in them too. 70. Linda said 70s. I don't think so. Anybody else have a guess? And I'll tell you why in a second if we get some more guesses. So, you know, you've got the instructions that are, you know, the papers as well. And sometimes maybe you just include these in your, you know, your junk journaling things, or you could certainly use them on mixed media pieces. And tissue, I love, Carol says 70s or 80s. I think, yes, Linda, the shoulder pads. 80s for sure. These things are definitely 80s. In fact, it's so funny because I remember we went to one of my cousin's weddings, and I remember making my girls get something that was more suitable to wear. And so this was one of the things. I just laughed when I saw this because I remember it was a floral jacket and it had these great big shoulder pads. Even for, you know, young girls. I mean, it was just hilarious. Look how big those were. Well, I tell you what, you know what happens about shoulder pads? It's thinning for your hips. I might be tempted to get out some shoulder pads. Right? Oh, you guys, it's so funny. Yes, Elsie, 80s. Yes, Christine says 80s. Says she remembers them well. But, you know, so there's a lot of paper that you can use if you pick up a pattern. And this was a great buy. And, you know, sometimes you can even find stuff at a thrift store. Although my thrift stores are not my thrift stores around where I am. They're not thrifty at all. Now, they will have days where, you know, every day is like 50% off for a different colored sticker. Well, anything I ever want is never that color and that sticker. But look, here's some more embroidery on this. And, you know, and this would be pretty to use on something. I love the embroidered pieces. And I think I might be partial to that because I like doing needlework. I haven't done it in years. Hi, Sue. Hi, Lynn. Sherry. Good morning, everybody. So how many of you do any kind of needlework? Do you do any needlework? I mean, and there's so many things that cover, you know, what I call needlework. Look, this one has got some places that are, you know, starting to unravel. But, you know, all that takes is, you know, you just trim off the other things and you can use a tiny bit of glue. I've shown you before how I just take a little bit of glue and, you know, just tap it on the edges or put it somewhere kind of strategically so it won't ravel anymore, right? So those are, you know, kind of handy. And now, you know, sometimes, and you might want to work on it, see if you can get some of the, you know, the stains out. You might just want to use the parts that aren't stained as is. You know, this one has a whole bunch of this decorative edge, you know, so you can cut those things out. Just so many, you know, fun things. But Yes, textiles is a big thing. I keep looking for like a, as many of these as are out there. I think that it is so funny. I have been looking for um, a chenille, like anything chenille. I have not found one yet. Not at the thrift store, not at any of the estate sales we've gone to. And you guys, look at this bag of buttons. Bag o' buttons. And some of you I know like to do themed junk journals. Look at how fun these would be, like for some sewing, like a sewing junk journal. There are tons of buttons. Look, this has even got a thing to make covered buttons. Oh my goodness, how many of you ever made covered buttons? You're getting fancy. And some of them have all of the buttons on them. Some of them only have part of them. But my goodness, a whole great big bag full of those. Look at this giant button. I mean, just lots of fun. I know, right, Susan? Treasures indeed. So I've got a bunch of those. And actually, you guys, you know what? Some of these things, I don't know about these yet, but some of the things I want to scan and be able to share digitally as well. You know, if we have some things that we make digital, we'll be able to share them much more easily. Or we can spread the wealth around, right? Look at this, you guys. Bags of canceled stamps. Now, Sue Blaylock was on here a second ago. I don't know if she still is. She had something that she had done, a little project one day, and she'd used canceled stamps. And I asked her if she had those or if they were digital, and she said she had them. She'd been collecting them for years. And I can remember thinking, gosh, I didn't have any stamps like that. And so I've been kind of on the lookout. And you know, when you're on the lookout, you never find anything. And we went into this home and they had both of these bags that were full of these stamps. And I mean, they're all just like cancelable stamps. Now, how they got them, now I don't know. Maybe they're not as hard to take off as I would imagine. Maybe the adhesive does not stick that well. But oh my gosh, and look at the prices. This is 15 cents. I don't know, can you see that? 15 cents. Now, some of them don't really. Now this, but you know what? Some of them are not American. I think these are French. I think some of them are from France. Oops, that's going to pop. And this would be another clue that they actually were. Look at this. Here's like an old airmail thing. It's got the person's, address, who it was from, and it was from Paris. They had it had been sent from Paris. So an old airmail envelope. Isn't that cool? And then there's still all of these, just tons and tons of them. All kinds of different ones. Oh, here's a young Queen Elizabeth on this one, but it's from Canada, a Canadian stamp. So lots of fun like this. And you guys, this one, we went, and I'm so lucky, my husband will actually go through some of the, he will look through the estate sale things online. And if you don't know, one of the places that you can find out where estate sales are going to be is, it's called estatesales.net. That's a place online. And all you have to do is put in your zip code. And there's a bunch of things on the left-hand side that you might want to uncheck, because there's all kinds of ways that people can list their sales. I mean, it might be an auction, it might be, whatever. But uncheck most of them, because you're not going to the ones you want are probably the ones that are going to be live where you are, right? So uncheck those things. But then they will have pictures of things that are going to be in the sales. And that way you can, look if it's going to be anything interesting, because nobody wants to make a trip somewhere and there be absolutely nothing that you want to see, right? So then this is a picture that I saw and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go there. So I'm going to show you what this is. It's in this old cigar box, and it's, seen better days. You guys, it has got all of these old letters There's old receipts. There's all kinds of old stuff on super old paper. I don't know. Oh, I do. Peterson. I don't know what year this was. This says something about January 18th, 1874, but it's talking about something that was formed then. And then here's a little bit of, oh, here's something about when someone was born and when they died. I tell you what, but oh, this paper is just so fragile. Here are things that you can tell that were written in with, probably like a fountain pen. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta have that stuff. So we went over there. We asked where it was, and they kept it right up at the register. So I asked how much they wanted for it, and then she told me how much per piece or how much the whole thing was. And I really, really debated about whether to spend the money or not. And I decided, yes, that I would. And I'm going to scan a bunch of these things so I can share them with you and put them in my Shopify shop. Hi, Katie. How are you doing? Katie, yeah, not only do I love them, we did them for a while. That kind of love of doing the estate sales was not that great. And then look at this. Oh, now this one is something. This is from 1882. Some kind of a, I don't know, like a balance sheet or something. Or what? No, like a sales receipt maybe? Look at that. Is that cool or what? So I got my work cut out for me, right? To have to scan some of these. But oh my gosh, this may be my most favorite thing I have ever found at one. It could be. And I have had my eye out for something like that for a long, long time. Katie, I know you're hanging in there. Bless your heart. I tell you what. And I've been thinking, you are on my prayer list and in my thoughts, and I tell you what, we're rooting for you, honey. You hang in there. And then, you guys, we were out, one of my oldest daughter was here, and she goes, what is that? She goes, I know you like to get big dictionaries and stuff. What is that? And I took one look and I go, oh my gosh. I said, I haven't seen one of these in years. Who knows what a Coles directory is? You'd have to read them all. Yes, Carol, I agree. I so agree. Who knows what a Coles directory is? I was telling her, she opened it up, and I can't remember what she thought that was going on. And I go, I'll tell you what it is. I said, I think I remember. I go, let me look. I want to know who knows what a Coles directory was. We're going back in time where, there were phone books and all that kind of good stuff, right? Okay, I'm going to show you. And there's, now, what if I can tell, does it tell what year that it is? Let me see if I can figure out the year. 1970. I tell you what, for 1970, you guys, a lot of things the papers in them are already turning and look, they've got kind of a cool color to them, even from in the 70s. I have noticed that. Here's a Coles directory. And the Coles directory lists people's phone numbers by their address. Did you know there was such a thing? No. And so here was what it was like. Up at the top is the name of the street. This one is Hodgkins Drive. And of course, it tells, I guess this is the neighborhood. This says Hillcrest. I think Hillcrest is the neighborhood in Fort Worth. I'm not sure. I haven't always lived here, so some of that is kind of new. And then you look up the house numbers are right in order sequentially, and then it tells who lives there and it tells their phone number. Now, what the other number is to the side, I don't know. I wonder if there's like a key that tells what it is. I don't know. I'll have to check that out. See if I can figure that part out. I probably could Google it. Oh my goodness. Here's a whole cross-reference thing and abbreviations. Oh, they even have common abbreviations for people's names. But I don't know what that means. Like right next to it, there's a number by the people's name. I'm wondering if it's how many people live there. Oh, look, there's even little maps in it. This is a treasure, you guys. This has got so much fun stuff in it. So there's maps in it too, but there's numbers over here, and I wonder if that means how many people live in the household. I don't know. No clue. But anyway, I just thought this was a right. You would not, they wouldn't be able to do something like this nowadays because so many people have cell phones. A lot of people don't even have a house phone anymore. What about you guys? How many of you have a house phone still? Do you still have a house phone? Wouldn't want that available nowadays. Yes, not only, yes, exactly. I don't want that. You're right. But I just thought, look at what great paper, though, that it makes. You know, how many of you like to use text paper on things? And it's just got a totally different look for, you know, text paper. No house phone. Linda says no. I think a lot of people have gone away and don't even have one. Katie says she does. You know, I wish I liked having a house phone, and I still do have one. Elsie says no, she doesn't have one. I still have one, and I mostly have it kind of for emergencies because I know that way somebody can, you know, grab up the phone and, you know, the emergency people will know where the call is coming from. Because we've had so many people, you know, off and on at our house that really weren't sure of the address, and you know, we've had kids and grandkids come and go over the years and stay, you know, lengths of time with us, and I kind of did it as a safety measure. But now I use it for my business phone number is what I use it for these days, and then I just forward it to my cell phone, and then if I don't answer that, it does go to the other. It's not leaving the message on my personal. On my cell phone. But you know, I'm still using my cell phone all the time. Molly says she's keeping her line. I just wish so bad I had a decent phone to go with it. The only one I've got is like one of those, cordless. And I don't like that thing at all. And after we moved here, all my phones that I used to have in Minnesota, we had house phones in Minnesota. And, you know, they had been transferred like to digital service, but they were still, you know, basically they were my landlines. And I tell you what, those phones were great. And the ones that I've got now, I do not like them. They don't sound good. I don't like, you know, listening to them. They feel weird. And for some reason, my good phones, I couldn't get them to work after they moved. They must have had a hard trip coming here. Hello, Susan Turley. Good morning. Sue, that is so lucky that your mother-in-law made copies of your husband's grandfather's journals from the late 1800s for her kids. She also had your husband's baby cards, an outfit he wore, a photo of him, his baby spoon. That is so cool. Oh my goodness. That is a treasure. Talk about a treasure, right, you guys? Such a treasure. I love that. But, you know, you guys, some of these things that you think are just, you know, you're ready to toss them out. Now, it becomes kind of a space-saving problem, though, when you've got all these crazy things, you know, that you're going to use. It's like, oh, that'd be great to use. And look, this even has a section that's a different color in it. So just fun for using for all kinds of, you know, things for paper. But I think that's all I got out to show you. Oh, I did have this. Look at this. This is one of the things. I've been putting buttons in here, and this isn't even all the buttons that I have been picking up at some of these places. So lots of buttons, and I think I'm going to start doing, I know some of my friends have done this. When people have purchased something from their shop, they will give them a scoop of something fun. Oh, there's something weird in here. What is that? Oh my gosh, I have never seen anything like this. I can imagine how to use it, but look at this. Isn't that funny? That'd make a fun closure. That would make a fun closure on something, because it's already got the height, and you could, you know, glue the bottom on, and then it's kind of thick though. But how fun is that? You just never know what you're going to find, you guys, at estate sales and things like that. So, and garage sales. Garage sales, I don't really see that many garage sales around. Plus, usually when people are doing them, if they're in the summer. Although I did go to one lady's, she was having a garage sale down the street, and my daughter and I stopped in, and she had the most gorgeous top, and it had lace and what do you call it? Like appliques, lace appliques on it in different places, and then just the lace was super wide along different portions of it, and then a lot of it was real thin, like a real a thin fabric. I can't even think of what you would call it. And I'm like, oh, this could be used in so many ways, and she didn't want hardly anything for it. And so I bought that, and she's going, isn't it beautiful? And I said, it sure is. I didn't tell her I was going to cut it all up. But you know, we always are using things for something different than what they were made for, right? Yes, I did use that on I have used it a couple of times. I cut out one of those lace appliques and put it on the front of a journal that I made. Sue, you sure are lucky to have a lot of those pictures. I'm lucky too in the fact that my mom took time to document who was in a lot of photos, old photos that she had. The problem is they're all written on the back. So if you want to use them, you know, if you want to see who it is, you got to flip the picture over to see who it is. Although, you know, they could go into some of those pocket photo albums and not put anything behind them. But oh my goodness, that would take a lot of albums. But you know, you could do it like that. You guys, thanks for joining me today. I am gonna let you go, and I'll be on tomorrow with a project. We're gonna do something. Actually, I think tomorrow we might just do something fun and make some fun papers to use. I think we'll do some jelly prints and mark making, and I will be on tomorrow at noon Eastern. So noon Eastern, 11 Central, and I'll see you then. You guys have a wonderful day, and you know, do something fun, do something, create something, be crafty today, even if it's just for a few minutes. You guys, talk to you later. Bye-bye.